I am your humble host. Whoops. Hawkeye Two Feathers. And I greet you with the love and friendship and everything from the great creator. And I pray every day that each and every one of you will learn how to get closer to the creator because it's all around. And not only that, it's 420. And so I thought I would share this. And to my 888 subscribers, to all of you, my friends, some of you who, have been with me for years. When I saw the stats, I was like, wait a minute, what about Brian? Remember Brian? Remember Brian years ago? And how many years ago did he check in with me? Because he was like my fifth or sixth subscriber back then. So there are many of you who've been with me for quite a while, and you were a part of the 888. I just saw the number and went, wow, 888. That's got to mean something. Oh, hey, Scotty boy. Oh, it's what is? I'm sideways? Hang on. Am I still sideways? Okay. For some reason, it looks weird, but okay. I didn't plan on doing this. I was listening to a program, and the thing went off. I was like, well, what's going on? And it said, Michelle, how are you? It said, well, you're live. And I said, no, I'm not, And I looked down and went, yes, I am. I went, well, maybe I should put a title on it. Richard, I love you too. I have some good news to share since you all are here. And Michelle, you will appreciate this especially. But as you probably know, my brother died about 3 weeks ago tomorrow. Yes, actually, 3 weeks ago tomorrow. And my sister's sending me an image now, as a matter of fact. But anyway, my brother being in the Navy, and because he had bad knees and was kind of crippled to get around, could sit easy. So, but my sister called me yesterday and said, would you like to have his scooter? And I was like, Danny's got a scooter. Now my brain is thinking, four-wheeler or something, scooter. And she goes, no, he got one from the VA because he couldn't walk. And I went, oh, that kind of scooter, like a wheelchair scooter. She goes, yeah. She said, everybody's trying to tell me I should keep it. But she was up here on her birthday, and she said, after seeing you and how much property you got and everything, and for you not to be able to get around, that's got to suck, right? And I said, it does. And she said, well, I want to give you the scooter. She said, it's a little over a year old or so, and, I want to give you the scooter if you'll take it. And I said, okay. She goes, well, with the idea, though, that if anything happens to you, I'll get it back. I was like, yeah, okay. Not quite a golf cart, no. Who can tell you is Barry, Elderberry, because I called him first thing after I talked to my sister, and he said, what are you getting? And I said, I'm getting a chair just like you, because he was telling me about how his chair is and how He can go down to the pond and get around and everything, a hover round, right? Where you want to go. But my sister said that, she used one that was exactly like my brother's at the Strawberry Festival. She said I had to rent it because I just couldn't walk. She said I drove all over that place. She goes, a couple of times I was going too fast. Hey, Red Jeans. Hey, how are you? So it's like, oh wow, holy crap a moly. So I'm getting the scooter. Then she says, well, okay, I got another deal for you. And I was like, all right, what's that? She said, but you got to understand that if anything happens to you, I get it back. I'm like, okay. So she said, Danny's got a Jeep kind of vehicle. And I said, okay. And she said, it's paid for. And I said, okay. And she said, Dustin wants to get it. That's not his name. Wants to give it to me. And because they don't want his vehicle, because it reminds them of him and they don't want it. And so everybody said, well, Lynn, why don't you keep the vehicle? Because it's newer than the one you got. And my sister said, I like my van. I want my van. I bought the van. I'm comfortable with it. And I was like, okay. So, alrighty. So now she wants to give me my brother's car that has the chairlift already on the back. And I asked her, I said, what kind is it? She goes, you know me, I don't know. She goes, but it does have a push button. She goes, I hate the damn thing because the only way to start it is with the key fob. And I was like, well, okay. And so I'm making arrangements to get down to Zephyr Hills to pick up the car, but we're going to wait until the ceremony at the National Cemetery that's near Brooksville, Georgia. Brooksville, Florida. And I've seen the pictures of the cemetery and it looks real nice. So we're all waiting on my brother's ashes to come back. And when my nephew receives the ashes, then he can call the cemetery, and then the cemetery will arrange what day, what time, and that kind of thing for his ceremony. So we're kind of waiting on that. Everything is on hold until that time. But in my near future, within the next month, that I'm going to get a much newer vehicle with a hover round. Thank you very much, Michelle. And no, it's not a Trans Am. My brother's he's always had a Bronco over the years. And so, they came out with the new Ford Bronco a couple of years ago. And so I'm not saying that that's what it is, but, it could very well be a Ford Bronco. But she said it's paid for. There's no lien, no nothing. It's paid for. And she said, I'll sign the title over to you, or we'll just have Dustin to sign it over to you. And that, but the thing is, you can't drive it home without insurance. And I said, that's going to take all of about 5 minutes. All I got to do is call Progressive, have them add the vehicle. Here's the VIN number, and I can drive home back to Georgia. So, but anyway, that's, thank you to my brother. Amen. And I said, thank you yesterday when my sister called me. I said, God, I can't believe this, because I was saying that, my truck's running pretty good. And, but she is getting old and, I really would like to have something newer just because it's newer, less things to fall off or rust out or something, but at the same time, I was like, I don't have that kind of money. So, but anyway, since I had that change with my insurance last year, and I have about $100 extra every month than I did before I got this extra help. So it's not a lot, but that $100 I was thinking can help pay for full coverage on that vehicle. And so rather than a car payment, my payment's going to be to keep full coverage on it. And with that said, and with the chair on the back, and the fact that it's a Jeep type, I can bring Duggar, and that means I'll be more comfortable with a seat that would, move around and possibly recline, and I wouldn't be tired with driving, and it would be much quieter. And it has a radio, and it has heat and air, and it has good tires on it, and its brakes work, and so it's like holy crap, I'll be able to go someplace. So I might be able to. I want to go out to see Elderberry, and we want to have a drum and a live stream from his house. I've been wanting that for a couple of years now. But also, I want to get back up to the Appalachian Mountains. There's some folks up there. And so I'd like to just put it out there and say, look, I'm going to Ohio. Anybody going to be around? I'm going to be in Cincinnati. Anybody around? Kind of thing. So, but anyway, I love y'all, and I wasn't supposed to be on. And you know what? I got on here to do a 420, but I got one hand. Learn to be ambidextrous. My tip for the day, because I'm holding the phone with my right hand. Had to do the rest of this with my left hand. So, but anyway, does anybody know what the 888? Yeah, boom, I'm all set. Right. Yeah, Michelle. I'm almost to the point where I feel like I could drive my truck about anywhere. I got to go back outside and change that tire and do a couple of things, but I'm working on it. And I got everything set with the boat, because y'all know me. I want to be able to take my canoe with me. But if the truck will drive, so will the boat. So but to have a hover around vehicle type thing, if I wanted to go to a state park and camp, I'd have to stay right there at camp, because I couldn't walk down a trail to save my life. And there are a lot of places that I would like to go back to that have great hiking trails, but I can't hike, not like I used to. So I'm pushing the limits with walking. Me and Duggar went up and got mail today, and I'm pushing the walking thing. I've got therapy twice a week starting next week to push me into walking more, and going to the YMCA to get in the swimming pool to strengthen my leg muscles, working on that. So after all these operations I had last year, it took a lot out of me, but I am not giving up. So, but by having a new vehicle is like way up there, but having the hover around thing for me to be able to get around and go to a state park and go walking, or to a wildlife management area and go riding around and let Duggar, run beside me, kind of thing, it would be great. Oh, it would be great. I am more excited about the hover round than I am about the new vehicle. I mean, honest. This is like, what? Yeah, the hover round. Let's screw the truck, screw the vehicle. Not really, but the hover round. I don't know nothing about it. I have worked a couple of times with some folks that had an electric wheelchair. I don't know if it was a hover round or whatever, but to the point that I'm only familiar with them. You know, how you doing, Richard? I've been wanting to talk to you. Did you see the recent Charistus video that says that shows Dante got bombed? Let me put this down. That'll work. X, how you doing? Well, that's better. I put the phone down. Now you can look at the now you could look at second floor up there. Yeah, said he was dead. Yep, absolutely. So somebody told me a week or two ago that they said that Dante was dead. And I was like, well, I don't know. I didn't feel like he was gone, but that doesn't mean anything, right? And so, but when I saw the video and he was going, oh shit, I'm in the wrong spot. Oh shit. So I know it really sounded like him. That was one of the first things. I was like, I recognized his voice. I said, well, that's him, you know, heard it before though, about 5 times. Said it was the last video before he got bombed. Yep. So I don't know, but I'm going to do, I think it gives me a little bit of license. I'm going to do a Silent 72 Dante Demise 888. And I think that's going to be the title of the video. And I'll do a live stream and we'll discuss it. And also I want to after I saw the 888, I was like, that represents something, doesn't it? So I want to look into the 888 a little bit. And if any of y'all know anything about the 888, let me know. I bought a 4-wheel electric scooter. Love it, but it cost almost 600 plus, goes 6 miles an hour. My brother passed away about 3 weeks ago, and he had it, a wheelchair device from the VA, and I understand they're really nice. Oh, you did answer? I was holding it and looking around. I got to scroll back up. Is it a short answer? Or should I scroll back up? It's hard on this cell phone. Where is it? There's a message retracted. Crap. Not just an angel number. It's huge in Asian cultures. Abundance. 888 is good fortune. Scotty boy with a female chauffeur. I doubt that. Oh, I just read it. So it's about abundance. I knew it had to do with something. So the fact that there's 888, it's been 9 years I've been doing this. And so it's like, wait a minute. I've really been around. YouTube says I've been around for 9 years. So gotta trust them, right? Anyway, but I'm like, I've made it 9 years through thick and thin. Y'all been with me through operations and heart attacks and everything. And, I said 888 subscribers. That's gotta be good, So I love you all. I thank you so much for being friends. If y'all been hanging around me enough, you know that I just love it so much that we can chit chat and share stuff, all kinds of stuff. we've talked about, cooking, and we've talked about, nuclear energy. We've been talking about all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So when my brother passed away, um, they were going to give my sister his car for what all the work that she did, just before he passed away. And she said, David, she goes, I like my van. I don't want it. So I'm going to give you the car with the understanding that if anything happens to you, I get the car. And I was like, no problem. So, but anyway, thank you, X and Richard and everybody. Um, and so it's like, in for this year, I'm like, so what kind of things can we share? What kind of things are going on? What kind of, so one of my soon future videos is going to be, you know, um, the shaman journey in 2025, and just sort of an overlook of, you know, spiritual things and whatever. Yeah. It means I'm going to be able to travel. And if I'm in your neighborhood, I'll find a state park and you can come visit, or national forest or something. But yeah, me and Duggar will be able to travel around. And with a Jeep type device, I'm sure there's plenty of room for me to, throw camping gear in there for me and Duggar. Um, and, depending on what the roof looks like, I may be able to slide at least one of my um, kayaks on top of the vehicle. So if I can't pull the trailer, I can throw my kayak on. So yeah, Doug is going to love it. He'll have a front seat that's like a real front seat. When Rob was here on Sunday to check on me, when I walked him out to his vehicle right out in the yard, and Duggar's running around. He's having a happy, good time. And I gave Rob a hug and turned around, and Duggar was sitting on the passenger side of his truck. And we were like, where are you going? He's like, well, I thought we were going for a ride. you know, so it's like we almost had to drag him out of the truck because he was just having a ball sitting in the passenger side. So if someone sees something I have an next, like they'll take care of, give stuff away. Bless Duggar, absolutely. But if you'd seen him, and then we was like, when we sit, he was sitting up there like, and I said, "Where do you think you're going?" And he was like, he looked at us and then put his head down. He was like, "Well, can I go? Can I go?" But when I go down to Tampa, Rob's going to take Duggar, and because Duggar needs his kids. He, Rob's got 4 kids, and every time Duggar goes over, he just about wags his tail off. And so, you know, and the kids, they wag their tails when he comes. I have a camper trailer so I can camo with you. I'm in Massachusetts. Holy crap. What a character like his daddy. Yeah, well, and golly, my beard is good, so freaking long. Oh, also, I just had um an echocardiogram on last Wednesday, and I haven't gotten the news back. But if there's something wrong, they usually call right away. I've had a couple of other tests, so the only thing I would have to do to go on a long trip would be to schedule my medication so I'd have enough for a round trip, and make sure that if I've got a doctor's appointment, I either go early or after my trip. So, I have that to work out. But this spring, June would be the best time to go riding. When it gets to be July, But all that depends on, getting the vehicle and seeing how much money I got and that kind of thing. So I do have some money saved up. I'll just have to, you know, reconsider what my resources are. Tampa, oh my God, Cecil and I met 28 years ago yesterday. Well, bless your hearts. Chloe, there you are. Looking at my notifications. So you're in Massachusetts. I've never been that far up the East Coast. I've been in North Carolina, but not on the beach. It's always been in the Appalachians. And I've been in Virginia, but also in the Appalachians. So um, West Virginia, Appalachians, Kentucky, coal country, Ohio, the same thing. So I have not been that far east. So that'd be interesting. You know, how far would you be willing to drive? Buy a lotto ticket now. If I would have known you would have been on, I would have been here. Well, you only missed 26 minutes. Basically, Chloe, when my brother passed, he left my sister his car and she's going to give it to me. He also left a hover round and the car has the lift on it and everything. She's also going to give that to me. So that's the really good news. From Hyas, Virginia, and we are moving back there this year. From Hyas, Virginia? Is that the name? Really? Haysi? I know there are strange names out there. There was a couple of places in Western Virginia that I visited years ago, and it's on the Kentucky border. Ooh, I could work with that. If it's on the Kentucky border, that's close enough for me to get to. Ooh, let me know. Let me know. Yeah, I go up to Ohio, and I want to go back to Serpent Mound. And Brahms, how you doing? So with this newer vehicle and a chair, because I had trouble getting around Serpent Mound last time, and that was before I had the operation. So I'd love to go back to Serpent Mound, but I was like, I'm gonna have to camp every 20 feet. I'm gonna have to set up camp or something. But to have the wheelchair now, a motorized wheelchair, and to be able to ride around Serpent Mound on the path and take my time and and just meditate if I want to stop and do so, or whatever. I'll just take my time, and because I'll be there unless somebody comes with me, I'll be there by myself. I can take as much time as I want. So pronounced Haysi. Haysi. Yeah, you know how them Appalachian folks are hauling across the holler. Haysi. So it's in Western Virginia and Eastern Kentucky. Okay. But anyway, on Eastern Kentucky, there's a really nice a 4-lane highway that goes all the way up through Kentucky, all the way up to Ohio up there. And it's beautiful ride. There's not any traffic, I mean, it's like zoom. Everybody tells me, get on I-75. Well, we went I-75 and we got locked down 3 times. Right around Lexington, we got locked down with traffic. 4 lanes of traffic on our side, locked down tighter than a drum. And in the time that we was locked down for 45 minutes, we could have been 45 miles further north on that other road. But so folks don't realize that I'm smarter than I look sometimes. Hey, Witch Moon, golly, this is really great seeing y'all. Wowzers. So we can 420 together. 65 and I'm 59. Yeah, but see, I don't go fast either, but I can still go. And even if I want to go to someplace bad enough, I'll walk a little bit and stop. I'll walk a little bit and stop. Walk a little bit, stop. you know. So but yeah, um yeah, I used to roam around all the time, to go to North Georgia, go to the go to Chunky Gal, go to different places in the mountains, and um, I'd love to go back to see my relatives in Ohio. So by having a newer vehicle and the hover round thing, that looks like a possibility. Before is like, well, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Could I take a plane? Not really. Don't really like. I don't mind flying. It's all the stuff to get on the plane. That's what I don't like. But to have this vehicle, oh, me and Duggar can take 2 or 3 days to get to Ohio and go visit relatives and stuff. And on my way home, like me and my sister did before, I can go through Ohio, Southern Ohio, and go see the Serpent Mound. And there's another place there near Chillicothe where the petroglyph is. I would love to go back there again. And so, plus, I think there's one or two places in Kentucky. Um, I've been to Mammoth Cave, but it wouldn't hurt to like go again. you know. But I want to go back to Virginia. I have to look on the map of where it is, but it was Western Virginia, and it was just beautiful. So yeah, when I started out with the beginning of the year and my prognosis, I'm like, this year is just it's gonna be better. Hey Michael, how are you? Katniss, goodness gracious. You calling me grandpa? No, who are you really? Dickinson County, the Grand Canyon on the East Coast. Oh, you never visited. Well, where are you at? Yeah, it's daylight for me. Yep. I hope so. With all the operations that I've been through, um, and the you're in Vietnam, huh? Oh, cool beans. Um, After getting some tests done here recently, you got to go, X. Okay, love you. Bye. Yeah, I still wouldn't mind flying. I just don't like the stuff to get there. How am I going to get to the airport? What am I going to do with my bags? What am I going to, the thing? What I can't walk fast enough when just stuff. And so it's like, um, I guess being crippled, I can, I can carry a little handicap sign around with me, and I got my brace on and I can put my knee brace on and use both canes instead of one and say I do need all of these at the same time because I'm disabled and crippled, damn it, and I'm 72 years old, damn it. Oh, he's going to stay with the fellow that helps take care of me. Well, he does take care of me, Mr. Rob, and he's got 4 chillins, and so when I last time I was in the hospital, Duggar stayed with them, and they love Duggar, And I mean, even the wife has took to him, and the little baby that is now big enough to walk, puts his arms around Duggar's neck, and Duggar just drags him across the floor, and and he wags his tail. It looks like his tail's fixing to come off, and the kids are so excited they just Duggar, yeah, it's great. And he's Rob's got several acres on top of this little hill, and a knoll, if you will. But it drops off pretty good out behind his house and down into the woods. So they got plenty of property to run around. Front yard off the road from the dirt road, and the dirt road is off of another dirt road. So only people that live on that road go down that road. So there's not much traffic, and not that they go to the road, but I mean, that it makes it so safe for the kids and for Duggar. So they're I I gotta take him over every once in a while just so he can have kids time. You know what I mean? I mean, if you know the dog, if you know your animal, and he was around Chillins when he was with his previous owners, and the one girl, she's, how's Duggar, how's he doing, I'll take a picture and send it to grandma's cell phone. But they still wonder how Duggar's doing and send him presents and stuff, long distance. But so having Duggar to go over to their house as a part-time dog, but that everybody likes, and he minds well. He's a little hard-headed sometimes, but he minds well, and he knows what their routine is in the house, and when he needs to go outside, and he doesn't chase the chickens or the kitties. And when it's time to go to bed, he picks one or the other of the kids' bed and goes sleep with them. It's like bong. So they're like used to him, and so he's so used to him. So it's hard for me, it's, if anything happens to me, he's got to go there, you know, he's got to go there. But anyway, uh, so much adventure to come. Make sure you take us along. Yeah, I really do want to do that. Absolutely. And since I've got this new cell phone that apparently is doing pretty well, I've got stuff to go in a vehicle that'll plug into a the cigarette lighter thing, and so I'm one to apt to drive at night, or at least in the early evening. It's just cooler on the highway, fewer people, no matter what. But I damn sure want to go north. I want to go back to Ohio and see my family. I hate to say this, but almost more than my family, I want to go see Serpent Mound again. And I'd like for anybody that could make it about the same time, or if I if there was anything I could do to adjust my schedule for somebody else to be there and us, go there together. But it is super clear. Good deal. Yeah, I love you too, Susie Q. How are you? So, but in my brother's passing, and I stood outside yesterday and saluted to the sky and said thank you. My sister and I have worked with our brother for years and years and years and years and years, and worked through his depression and everything. And yeah, let me know. I have to know where y'all are in case I know I'm going north. You know, I know I'm going north, up 75 at least to a point. Then I might go this way, then I might go this way. I also want to go out and see Barry, and he's in southwestern Missouri. I want to go back up to the Ozarks. So if anybody is in that neighborhood, like Steve Clark is in Kansas. So if I got over there in that area, I'd be like, hey, Steve, can you come? you know, Let's get together somewhere. Um, and I'd like to stay with Barry at least for a week because we want to go fishing and do some stuff. And um, but I am on a short leash in that um, wherever I go, I got to come back for meds unless I can work out some other deal. But I'm going to have to come back for doctor's appointments after 30, 45 days kind of thing. So love you, Witch Moon. I've been saving funds for the last year and I haven't counted it up, but I think I got a couple of $100 and I got some money in the bank because it just got paid. And if I don't leave right away and give myself another month or two, I'll have a little bit of extra money that I can save. I was just talking about you, Steve. Ain't that strange? I, were you on when I was talking about you? You're hoping to get to Arizona at some point. Oh, I would love to go back out west again. Who lives out west? Arizona or New Mexico? I don't care. Which, I don't know about California. Nevada, I've been through Nevada. That was, Reno was weird, let me tell you. But, you know, you just came on. Well, let me fill you in. Everybody else has heard. My brother died 3 weeks ago, and when he did, he left a vehicle paid off and a hover car, and a 9-hour drive for me to meet you there. What, to the Serpent Mound, Michelle? Wait, come back. Oh, Katniss. So Steve, what I'm when my brother passed away, he left his vehicle to my sister, and also the VA bought him one of those really nice wheelchairs that go everywhere. And so my sister said, I'll give you the car because I got a van that I really like and you can have it. And I said, well, what is it? She said, it's like a Jeep. And I said, okay. And he's got that wheelchair and it's got the lift on the back of the car. So you just slap it on there, strap it down, and off you go. And I was like, what? So she's going to give me the whole package with the understanding that if anything happens to me and I die or go into a nursing home, she gets it back, which is fine with me. Let me use it for a year or two. I'll give it back, So anyway, that's what the good news is, Yes to Serpent Mound. Okay, that would be cool. That would be cool. Because I was thinking, you're in Indiana, is that right? Indiana? Because there was some place in Indiana, southern Indiana, there are caves or mounds or something. And I was watching this special, and it was like, yeah, there's stuff in southern Indiana, caves and old stuff. And I was like, they seem to have maybe found some, ancient petroglyph kind of thing. And I was like, if I ever go to Serpent Mound, that's southern Ohio and over to southern Indiana would not be a long trip. It'd be closer than going up there from here, right? And while me and Duggar are out, I don't care if it's a zigzag journey coming home, but that we hit as many places on the way, Not to say that I won't get out and go on an adventure again, but having this opportunity as young as I am, that's funny, but as young as I am at the moment, and my health, all the doctors say my health is good for the circumstances. And so it's like, got to take advantage of this. And now that I got me a wheelchair kind of device that I can ride around in, you know. So, Steve, if I made it to Missouri, could you make it to Missouri? Springfield? I'd give you plenty of notice. I haven't really ever been anywhere. I want to take advantage of it too. Just got to keep letting the universe bless me with its grace. Yeah. And seeing for me, and for a lot of people, you know, if you know where to go and you're willing to camp, there are so many places you can go that don't cost much, you know? And it's not that you have to rough it. That'd be up to you. Hey, John, Dave's not here. No, man, Dave's not here, man. But, you know, you can get a nice tent. I've picked up a really nice cot over the years. And, you know, you can take your own water, you can take your own this. I've got you know, a little stove kind of thing that, you know, you can have water boiling in less than 3 minutes, you know, for coffee or tea. I mean, you know, it's just little pop-up tables and stuff. You can have everything you need, and it'll pop up in 30 minutes. You can have your little camp, you know, unless you're going to get really big and complicated, but you know. So and if you go to some kind of place that's got a picnic table, well, that's an extra, you know. But there are places you can go camping for free. Yeah, I would let you. I'm hopefully before July. Yeah, little stoves and lanterns. And if, you know, and if you accept the outdoors for what they are, then you don't need a lot of stuff. Because if you had to live outside all the time, you would want extra stuff. But if you're just going on a visit and you're going on an adventure and you want to increase your energy and everything, then poop in a bucket. Absolutely. Absolutely. I have I bought it at Walmart, but it's a seat that goes over a plastic bucket. So you don't have to sit on that narrow rim. Yeah, and how is Nate? I meant to ask you. I know I've been sending him prayers. Chloe, check Walmart. There's a lid. I mean, it's a it's black color, and it's got a thing around the underside of it that literally will snap on to certain buckets if the rim is right. But if not, it'll sit on there good enough to sit on. You know what I mean? But yeah, that would be cool. I will let you all know as soon as I possibly can when I could possibly, you know, come up there. I would rather come before July, you know, just because it just gets hotter in July. Or if I had to, I'd wait till after August and come in the fall. And if the truck and everything's working okay, I might make 2 trips. I might come down in the spring and I might come back in the fall. So, you know, depends on how much cash I got for gas. It doesn't cost much for either one of us to eat. And so, you know, what's gay camping? I don't need a bucket. I need a bucket now in my old age. I have leaned up against enough trees and took a shat. But I'm telling you, in my old age, that bucket goes with me. I'm just saying, you know, um, it's because of my back. You know, I can't lean up against a tree just right. I mean, if I have to, I will, you know, and do not use poison ivy to wipe with, you know. And somebody said, so what do you wipe with? What? You wipe with your hand? Are you kidding me? They said, yep, I do. And he was, well, how do you wipe with your hand? Like this, you know. You wipe with your hand. Now your hand, you can put your hand in the dirt. And rub that dirt between your hands. And get some more dirt and rub your hands in it. And get some sand and rub your hands in it. And go over and get some more dirt and rub your hands in it. And after a couple of minutes, you won't smell nothing. It'll be just about as clean as, you know. So it's like, so they use their hands to wipe with. Yep. And they use the dirt to wash their hands when they couldn't, you know, when water wasn't nearby. So then when they got to, you know, a creek or water or something, then of course they would wash even better. But at the time, if there was any poo on their hand, they just stuck their hands down in the dirt and washed their hands with the dirt. Yep, every backpack I got has got TP in it. And one of the other things that I've learned that I think I've tried to pass along to y'all over the years is paper towels. That PT. PT, not TP. What? Well, I find that the paper napkins, what did I just say? Paper towels. The paper towels, you might get some snow. We got some, you know, crazy weather headed our way, but whether or not it gets to us or not. Good night, Katniss. It's so lovely to see you again. Be safe and be safe. Good night. Good night. Love you too. Oh, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, well. What was the tip I was going to give you? Paper towels. Thank you much for it, Chloe. The paper napkins aren't thick enough. But even if you got to buy Bounty, buy a paper towel that won't rip, you know, which Bounty and some of them other more expensive ones, the weave on the paper towels is better. But the thing is that you can use a paper towel just to dry off, shake it out, and fold it up and put it in your pocket, and it'll dry out. And you can use that same paper towel 2 or 3 times if you don't rip it. Also, what's really good, and they've got them now, are these. Hold on. Ow. Whoops. My brother had issues with being able to get in and out of the tub. Hey, Miss North. I prefer modern day with TP. Yep. Well, but the thing is if to go camping along the way of an adventure is an adventure in and of itself. And so, but with that said, if you're going to do that, then go with the intention that my camping is going to make my journey spiritual, you know? So it's like, oh, but I don't know, just chill. How long are you going to be gone? Oh, maybe 2 days. You can't go camping for 2 days. I mean, you know, what? In your busy schedule of all your years? No, I ain't talking to you, Miss Nora. But these other people that I know. And it's like they are I gotta sleep in a tent. Well, yeah, you can sleep outside if you want to. Oh, I can't sleep in it. Well, if you take you've got an air mattress, don't you? Well, yes. And don't you, yes. And don't you have this? Yeah. You got folding chairs, right? Yeah. You got that camp table that you take outside with you all the time, right? Yeah. Well, you got it. You know, get a dish pan and a couple of gallons of water, and you got it. But. So you're going to only be uncomfortable if you believe it's uncomfortable. Now, does this show up correct? Can you see what it says? It's supposed to say dude wipes. And this thing is like full of them. It's heavy, And my brother's got these things. They're 48 flushable wipes. Now, they've got a fragrance-free 99% water and plant-based ingredients. Crude wipes, yeah, they're supposed to be dude wipes. But plant-sourced fibers. So, but anyway, when I was traveling with the carnival and when I was doing traveling with the going to the powwows, there were a lot of times you couldn't there was no place to shower or clean up hardly. You had to there might have been a hose or a spigot somewhere in the middle of a field or up against a building, and so you'd go get water out of that. And once in a while they'd have a we made it mandatory that they would have a um 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 a porta john. Hey, 1-1, how you doing? Big ups to you too. And so, but for me and Duggar to come up north, yeah, it'd be good to go see my relatives and bump into any one of y'all I could along the way. Yeah, try being in the Army. Yeah, I was in the Boy Scouts, and at times that was bad enough, for a week in the summer and go out camping and, yeah, gonna rough it and learn how to do plants and stuff. And, yep, it ain't the Army, but that's as close as I got. But we had some tough guys who are scout masters, and I'm so glad that they were. Nothing. I look back and it was nothing that we really couldn't handle because we made it through it. It was like, you're going to take this 2-mile walk. Well, I can't make it. And then after 2 miles, you go, man, I made it. So. But anyway, he didn't let us chicken out. He was like, listen, I know you can do it, but you don't. So have faith and go do it. Go do this thing. Go jump in the water or go swing off the swing or whatever it was, right? To them pansies. Oh, and by the way, if anybody's in Georgia, all of the Democratic senators voted against keeping boys out of girls' lockers. Now, Georgia has 2 Democratic senators, and I'm going to start a campaign that them 2 mofos, I really want to cuss really bad. Them 2 mofos are sissies. I mean, one's Warnock. Black man is supposed to be like Reverend Warnock. He voted against keeping boys out of the girls' locker room. What? He voted against it, which means he voted to allow boys in the girls' locker room. The other guy is John Ossoff or something. He's from Americus area, which is north of here, but to the point, he's got children. He's got a girl, at least one small girl, young girl. And he wants boys in her locker room? Oh, I'm so pissed off at our senators from the state of Georgia. They couldn't get off the Democratic roll long enough to vote against having boys in the locker room. What? Yes. And I lost the end of my pipe somewhere in that walk between here and there. But I'm going to smoke it the way it is. It's just a little short. I can't burn my nose. It's going to be really close. Look at that. Look how close my nose is. Bad people. You know, it's like common sense. I'm like, okay. And I was dreaming about this the other day, daydreaming. And I was like, if some certain kind of bill came up, would our Democratic um, senators from Georgia, would they vote with common sense? And the answer is fudge no. Ooh, wait. So I'm going to start a campaign. I'm not quite sure, but I want to, if I have to get on TikTok and put their names out there and, or find where they're at, and I'm just, you're a sissy, you're a sissy, you're a sissy. I want to put that out there. Them two men are, they got to be sissies to not vote, you know, for this bill to keep men out of the girls' locker room. Are you serious? And the one is a preacher. He's voting for men in the locker room. He's a preacher. Do you think Jesus really meant that? You know? Yeah, puff, puff, pass. Shut up, Dave. And so the 888, absolutely, they're cowards. That's why I want to, you know, tag them as sissies. I was trying to think of a lot of other words. There's a bunch, you know, but I was like, what can I say in one or two words, very simple? You know, I like to try to keep, you know, my title simple and to the point. Um, but what can I do that was like, you know, just tag them with something simple? And that you're a sissy came to me last night. And I went, oh, hell yeah, that's the one. Oh, hell yeah. You guys are sissies because, you know, you ain't got no cojones, obviously. And obviously, you'd like to see what? Do you want to go in the girls' locker room? You sissy, you know, but you allow your daughters to go in there? You sissy, you know. So that's calling them a bad name without it being a bad name, you know? Salad bars. So, what do you think about the sissy thing? I think that's a really good name without really tucking them with a bad name. Hell's Angels now on. I will be. Oh, and wait till I get to Missouri because our friend Barry has a very similar type of wheelchair because Barry, you know, he can't walk. And so it's like when I get out there, which I know I'm going to make it, but when I get out there, we're going to have wheelchair races. I have to get my leathers. You know, years ago, back in the day, and this, it was, well, no, well, it was the late 60s. It was like 69, and then 70 came real quick. And then 70, 69 and 70 in Tampa lasted for a couple of years. And then it changed. Tampa was real slow in change. It always took a year or so before we caught up with stuff that was like, even in Atlanta, Atlanta was even further ahead of us with certain things, electronics and other things. You'd walk into a store up and it, you know, when I came to Georgia, we'd go to Atlanta or mainly to Yeah, that city in the middle of Georgia that I can't think of right now. But anyway, we'd go there for supplies, and we'd go to some of the stores there, and there'd be stuff in them stores, and it's like, man, when did they come out with this? And we'd go back home to Tampa and couldn't find the same product, you know? So, but anyway. Oh, yeah, I want to go through. For the life of me, I can see the town, but I can't think of the name. It's in the middle of Georgia. But anyway, no, I hit live on the cell phone while I was trying to do something else. And I ended up coming live, and I was only going to do like 10 minutes. And here I am an hour later, and I'm still yapping. But everybody's been coming on, man. It's been great. There were 19 people in here at one time. That's just great, seeing everybody. So you're late to the show, but that's okay. John's here, Barry, Scotty Boy, Richard. I mean, Katniss just left. Steve was on. It's been great to see everybody. So, used to date a bandit. I've dated some criminals, and I was one. Oh yeah, and you too, Witch Moon. Yeah, hard for me to get down the whole list, and I can only see like this much of the chat. Oh, and Michelle was here. If she's not still. Good, Steve. So yeah, I will let you know, Steve, when I'm going to Missouri. And I will let you know at least a week or so before I go. So if you can jog your way over there, that'd be cool. Just got done watering the plants. Now it's Miller time. That's one thing I can't do is drink beer anymore. I would like to, maybe a near beer. Well, Barry, I told you I was going to get the car and the wheelchair. I called you first yesterday, right? When I quit drinking, I was kind of sort of hooked on Molson's. There was something about Molson's that I liked. If you come around the 27th of May, we could celebrate my 70th birthday. Well, I was thinking, for me, before Memorial Day, I don't know when Memorial Day is, but the end of May, 1st of June is what I was thinking, because the last time I really took a vacation was in 2003. And that was to the Ozark Mountains down to Buffalo, right? But we went a week before the Memorial Day, and there was nobody in any of the camps, a spotty few here and there. Nobody was there. But when it came the day before Memorial Day, everything just filled up. We crawled out of the tent about 9:30 in the morning and looked around, and every single tent space was taken, where there was only one or two campers the night before. So, oh, Moosehead, yeah. Well, in Idaho and up in there in the panhandle, I would say, of Idaho, was in that saloon up there, and they had moose drool. And oh my God, I would love to go back up into that area anyway. But moose drool, and it didn't have a head on it. It was sort of like what I would expect as an English beer, you know. And so when you got a beer, they pulled you a pint. They pulled you a big one, right? And it was cold, but it wasn't frozen. And I started drinking that. And back then I was on medications that I just couldn't drink alcohol, right? It'd give me a headache just almost immediately. And so I drank that big old mug of moose drool. I got a nice buzz, but I never got drunk or high, or I didn't get a headache. And I was like, come on, Danny. Me and Danny took that vacation that time. Come on, Danny, let's see if we can take any with us. You know, should have went out to the car and brought in a water cooler device, right? And filled it full of, I'll have another draft and pour it in there, and then we could take it out. But anyway, yeah, I used to love to drink different kinds of beer. That was one of the things that me and Pops used to do when I'd go visit him. We'd go into a place, say, have you ever had that beer up there? No. Want to try it? Yeah, okay. Hey, mister, you got that beer cold? Yeah, okay, we'll have two. You know, the German beer was chewy. Hill Country saw a cave about 12 years ago. Chloe, you're in Texas, right? Kind of south, if I remember. Because I've been through Texas twice on I-10, but it's always been, and coming home, it's been, centralish. Yeah. But I'd like to go to the hill country myself in Texas, just to go around Texas more. Like right through Oklahoma and then up through the top of Texas. I've not been to Kansas. I've been to all the states around it, but I have not been to Kansas or Colorado. Am I missing one? I want to go back to Idaho. They have a big castle. Oh, that'd be cool. Well, and Robert and I talk about Indians all the time, and in my own studies and stuff before Robert and I have met up and doing our stories, I've had this fascination. I've been out west before. I tried to move to western Arkansas, which, if I'd have got that piece of property, would have been like 10 miles from the Oklahoma border. And so the eastern side of Oklahoma is part of the Ozark. Actually, it's the Ouachita Mountains, and in southwestern Arkansas. And there's some pretty cool places in there, let me tell you. Um, and I had looked at property in eastern Oklahoma on the border of the two states and just could not make it out there. But now that there's a vehicle coming and I got a way to ride around, I got plenty of camping gear, so I don't need that. I've got a trailer if I need to pull it. I've got boats if I need to pull them. So having a new vehicle is going to be really cool. And my half brother down in Florida was like, you'll have to learn how to take care of it and everything. And I was like, listen, dude, I've got two vehicles, both of them with 300,000 miles on them. The only wreck I've had in either one of those vehicles was I hit an animal. One, I hit a great big dog that jumped out the side of the road and smacked him and tore my front end up. And the other one on my Mazda has been two deer that jumped in front of my truck. I have never had an accident, and that's 300,000 miles. That's 600,000 miles together. That's over 500,000 miles without an accident other than deer. My engines in either vehicle didn't blow up. They weren't burning oil or using a lot of gas or would, and I could drive them. And my Mazda's running pretty good right near. Yeah, deer hunting with the pickup truck. Yeah, I would. I'm going to have to put one of them guards on the front. I have only 4 states west of the Mississippi River to drive through yet. Then I have all of them west. Hopefully, I'll say almost carefree. I'll have to work out the medicine thing. And I can always, reschedule a doctor's appointment unless it's some kind of serious test or something. But I just had all my tests updated. Oh, and tomorrow I go to the eye doctor. So that'll be a year and 2 months since. But to the point, okay. So I've had everything checked. I'm up to date. My oil level is good. So it's like, all right. So the rest is up to me. And so, my plan is, you know, as you probably know, I refuse to give up. And so I'm going to figure it out. When we make the transfer of the title and the vehicle and the chair and all that, I will absolutely let you know. And then that way I will talk to Barry and Steve and everybody. Just ate a fortune cookie that says, a long awaited vacation will bring you a great deal of pleasure. Holy shit. That's great. That's great. Now, Michelle, if I'm in Southern Ohio, I wouldn't mind driving towards Indiana, like I said. But if you want to take a vacation and meet me at Serpent Mound, that would really be awesome too. Because Serpent Mound is just, you just got to be there. You can look at it on Google Earth and everything, but when you get there, now other people, it's like, it's a big mound and it's squiggly. But I don't know. For me, it was like, oh man, shit. you know, I hate one part that said, "Love is your superpower." Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So maybe this is I always talk a good line. No, but I mean seriously. I hate that my brother passed. Honestly, but he ran me and my sister ragged for years with his depression. Now, I don't regret the time that I spent trying to help my brother. I do not. And neither does my sister. We've already talked about it. We had a good cry over it too. But we know that Danny's in a better place. And if leaving us, because it's just not me, leaving us his car paid for, paid up, and his hover-round thing, and a couple of other personal items that Lynn kind of absorbed. Oh, and I've got these dude wipes. God, I got 100 of these dude wipes, and they're really thick. And the thing is, you can take a bath with one of these things. If you're not very dirty and you just been out walking or something, you can take a shower bath with one of these things. And that's the intent. And when I was on the powwow, you could see people in the afternoon, they'd sneak around back of the teepee and they'd have a box of wet wipes, baby wet wipes. And they'd, take a wet wipe, one for the top of the body and all around. And then maybe whatever was left, they'd go to the crotch with. But so they use wet wipes. Most of the ladies did. And I was like, how do you take a bath? How do you take a shower? How come you always smell so nice and look so good? And she brought the wet wipes out from behind her back and she goes, these is our secret. And she put them back in her back. And I was like, holy crap. And that's been 20 years ago. So the fact that now they have dude wipes, you know, and to be able, and they're flushable, you know. But for me, my thing is I have tried one of these and wiped off, and it was still nice and damp. So I folded it back up. I didn't put it back in the package there, but I folded it up and then came back later on and wiped off with it again because it was still moist. So I could use this 2, 3, 4 times. And if I had to, uh, I could wipe my butt with it, and so having these or the wet wipes is like, that's a really big deal. I don't know who you are. Oh, they're trying to sell me another Social Security plan. But so what limited a lot of people and still does is that, there are a lot of places that I have camped and know where to camp. You can look on the map and there'll be, state forest or wildlife management area or something, and that you can, do. Um, oh, what do you call it? Living out camping anyway. So, without facilities. So, but I got a couple of water containers, you know, and I've got my bucket to poo in. No, don't flush them. I agree. I agree. They would, unless I cut them up. Unless I cut them up. But here's the thing: if I had to wipe my butt with them, I would cut them up into small primitive. Thank you, Susie. There are a lot of places you can go primitive camping, which means, and I got my hammock and all the stuff. I mean, most of it's still in the truck. I drive around with it all the time. But I got an a teepee A-frame type of tent to get in and out of, um, and so because pup tents, I have difficulty bending over and getting into, right. So, and I have camped with the hammocks before, and I can get them off the ground just right. I've got an air mattress that goes in the hammock that makes it much more comfortable. Duggar don't like it. He's got to sleep on the ground. But I take a blanket for him, and I got a piece of rug carpet that goes under the hammock for wiping your feet and stuff, so that you don't take it in the bed with you. And he can sleep on that right under me. But anyway, or he could sleep in the vehicle if he wants to, you know, which might be easier for him. He might want to sleep in the vehicle. But so going traveling, I've have got so many places in my head and in my brain that I have been to already. And I was close to another really cool place, but I didn't have time to get there. You know, I was like, man, I want to get, if I could get there, can't go. We got to get back. Oh, damn it, man! But I want to go over there. Nah. So there are some places like that in the United States that uh, who is it is in Massachusetts. But it was from here to North Carolina, 1,400 miles. Yeah, that takes a while to get to do that. Yep. Texas is such a big god dog state. Now I'll tell you, driving from one end of Georgia to the other is a little over 300 miles. So it's like, well, that's a pretty good trip too. Um, but if I go to Barry's house, I got to cross over Mississippi, Alabama, Mississippi, and parts of Tennessee, and then Arkansas, and then Missouri. So having been out there several times, it's going to take me a couple days. I'm not going to be able to just drive straight out there. Besides that, there are a couple of places I want to stop along the way. That every time I would drive by there going to Arkansas, one of these days I'm going to stop there and find out what. I never had time. So now time is on my side. Yes, it is time. Anyway, sing along with me. So it's a huge thing, and I would absolutely love to come meet y'all. I don't know if I could make it to the West Coast. You know, I would love to go back out to Northern California, but found a place up there along the coast. Would love to go back to that. Southern California, nah. But Oregon, up in the mountains and up in there. Wanted to go to Mount Shasta, couldn't make it there. Um, yeah, about Dante, Chloe. Yeah, I did see it 3 times. What do you mean, Brian's stomping grounds? Brian's stomping ground. Well, he was in North Carolina. Now, see, my niece lives in North Carolina, right up near where Brian's mama lives. And so it's like, and I want to go see my niece again because her husband is cool as hell. And I'm like, man, I don't have to stay in your house, but they said I could. And I'm like, but I just want to come up when you got some time and, let's just hang out, go fishing, go. Now that I got this bike thing or, cart thing I can ride around in, we can go hiking up to some points. And depending on where we're going, I'd get out of the damn chair and give it my best shot. He took us to a waterfall when I was up there last time. Yeah, my scooter. I don't know. I'm gonna have to give it a name. But yeah, it was downhill all the way. But it was like stairs, and uh, down we'd go, and down we'd go, and down we'd go. Oh, in Tennessee, yeah, I've been a lot of places in Tennessee. Yeah, Brian Barnett, absolutely. Yeah, I spoke about him at the beginning of this video, actually, as a matter of fact, because he was one of my first subscribers. And, having 888, I looked at that number and I just went, what? You're kidding. 888? Holy mackerel. So, but having a cell phone, I can pass out my cell phone to y'all when I get ready to go. And so anybody interested, and if I'm within driving distance and I got the money, I'll get close enough to come see you. We'll make coffee, That crystal dig with Brian. Really wish. Yeah, now I know where to go dig some crystals in Arkansas. And that's one reason why I want to go back to Arkansas. Going and coming if I can. Um, but if I only go to Barry's house and don't go north or something, which we'll see now that I'm getting a new vehicle. But I was going to go see Barry, spend a week or so, and then come back. And on the way back, pick some more spots that I have wanted to see along the way going home. I don't know if I would go see Barry and then go north or to Indiana or something. We'll see. We'll see. But I know I'm going to go see Barry, and I know I want to go to Serpent Mound. And my family's in Ohio, so those are two known. Those are two known things, right? So, and anything squiggly along the way. Yeah, he left quick. And but there are places in Arkansas, especially in Mount Ida. There are places you can pay, and if you know where to go and what to look for, there are places in the national forest that if you know what to look for geologically, you can go hunting for crystals there too. Because, out there, there's a hidden volcano under Arkansas. Everybody says, Dave, that can't be. Well, what do you call hot springs in Arkansas? How do you think the springs get hot? From lava under the ground. Ooh, really? Or magma, right? Or under the ground. It's hot. Well, where did those things usually come out of? Volcanoes. Duh. So hot springs there's a volcano under there, But because of that, that part of Arkansas is the only place in the United States where there are real diamonds. And there's a place called Crater of Diamonds State Park. And not too long ago, somebody found one that was almost the size of a tennis ball, and that thing was like it was worth a bunch of money after it got ground down. So, and if you find one, you can keep it. But there are other types of things in with the diamonds. It was called the Crater of Diamonds State Park. I don't know if it's a national park now or not. But now it's really close to a national forest, but I don't know if the park itself is state or national now. But anyway, but in that area, in that neighborhood of Arkansas, if you know what to look for, you can go and find, you can dig for all kinds of things. It used to be $5 a day to dig. That's reasonable. $10 a day would be reasonable, with this, price increase these days. Because to be able to go out there and the opportunity or the chance of picking up a real honest to God diamond, that could be worth $10,000 or something. Holy crap. But just finding it would be a holy crap moment for me, because I've got all these rocks and things and crystals and stuff that I've collected over the years. And it's like, man, and I have dug my own crystals. I have walked 2 miles out into the middle of a forest area in northeastern Georgia, up northeast of Athens. And there was a slot in the ground. It was just a ditch. And in that ditch, people had been digging on the sides and had dug in a little tunnel. And there were all kinds of crystals, but they were all only about this big. Some of them might have been this big, but they were beautiful little crystal clusters and stuff. And you have to dig them out carefully with a spoon, and with the back end of the spoon, and then you use the dipper side to give it that little extra. But there was a vein on either side of this little ditch trench thing. It looked like when they were clearing out and planting trees in that area for the forest, the property was like 2,000 acres of somebody had bought the land and growing it for timber. One of the big timber companies, like Weyerhaeuser or somebody. Volcanic glass and quartzite. Yeah, I'm double somehow with YouTube live share, and it brought me here. Sorry, I'm stoned. Well, so am I. I'll have another hit. I have forgotten more about geology than I can remember. And after getting all my doctor's reports back that doing pretty good, all things considered, right? And I see all these commercials, going to school to get your degree. Blah, blah. I was like, well, it'd be nice to get an engineering degree. I only got a 2-year degree, and it's like, yeah, well, I went to school, yeah, and I was an engineer, yeah, but I didn't get a degree, So I was like, well, maybe one day. And then I was like, well, but maybe what I really should get is something that I like, something that I could really learn more from. I mean, I would go into engineering, but having been an engineer, still am, a lot of this stuff would just be practical stuff. I'd just go along and go, yeah, yeah, yes, no. Of course, there is a lot of math in it. But then I got to thinking, I love going to the mountains. I love going down here to the caves and around here. When I'm down in these little streams and stuff, what am I looking at? What kind of ground is it? The Flint River has some of the best flint. That's why it's called the Flint River. So being a buddy was looking at a piece of flint that I got out off the bank of, it's a big rock. And I was like, if I ever needed to make arrowheads, I'd just take some chunks off of this. Well, he gave me a couple of chunks. Here they are right here, actually. So he gave me these 2 flakes. All right, you see this one? It looks like somebody was making this uh, a spearhead. All right, but the end's broken off, and there's not been any. Nobody's tried to do the sides of this thing, but this could easily be converted into a spear point. It looks like from this side they tried to work this spot right here, and you can tell right in here, see that little dip on my fingernail? It looks like they were trying to work that spot because they always make the Clovis hitch kind of thing. So, and with the one pieces of flint that he got, there's this piece, and it's very flat on this one side. See, it's absolutely flat, and it was broken off of another piece, obviously. There's still dirt attached to this piece, and the top of it has got some, it looks like lime rock in here. You've never seen a real arrowhead? I've got some. Maybe I should do an arrowhead. I should bring out, I've got all kinds of stuff like that I've collected over the years. Come to my house. My sister and her son and Brad, my half brother, they all say, Dave, limestone. That's what I think. Yeah. Especially because of where it came from. There's limestone all over the Flint River, but there's a lot of flint around Flint River, and there's a lot of places where the 2 of them are married. So this does look like limestone. Hey, Crafty Cat, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while, unless you've been sneaking in. You got limestone everywhere? Yeah, so this piece has not been worked, but it would be easy to take this piece and use it like this as a scraper. And it's already kind of sharp right there. So with a little work along this edge, you could make this a scraper. That's a little small, but you could still make it a scraper, especially with this one side being like, one size of the edge of a knife. So this would make a nice scraper with just a little bit of work. So then there's this piece, which is a lot more rude and crude. Obviously, some limestone sitting there. And it's sort of been formed, and it does look like somebody has chipped this. It looks like this edge has been worked right there. And so it's like, we don't know. It's almost naturally wouldn't be hard to make this into an arrowhead or a spear point. You know, these are, this is about 3 inches long. It's a little long for an arrowhead. And if you feel it, it's kind of heavy too. So, but a spear head, absolutely, you know. And hang on, I've turned this into show and tell. This is a real spear that I got to get the leather back on it. On a rod, on a stake thing, and it's tied on. It had feathers and so forth. Um, and this has got a steel blade on it. But yep, it's a steel blade. But the steel blade is about the same length, blade wise, as this one piece. You need my address? Okay. And this piece here is, you know, similar in length to this spear. So this is, I'm just using it as an example of, you know, why I say spearhead versus arrowhead with these two pieces. Now, if the one breaks down enough, you can turn it into an arrowhead, but they're pretty heavy, you know, as far as arrowheads go. But it would be great for a spear. And you say, well, what's a spear for? Well, you go down in the water and you look for the small places, and you see them people fishing with a spear and in streams and stuff. That's what they're good for. And you can kill a wild beast if they happen to be in your neighborhood. If you're being chased by a wild pig, you will want something like this. That's all I'm saying. It's long enough to stab something without them touching you, and it's long enough to pull it back and jab them again. You know. So, but anyway, but that's what the old timers used. You know, even the pioneers, they kind of sort of learned from the Indian, but the Indians were the ones that were making the arrowheads. You know. So it's Pancake Day in the UK. Oh crap! Like the Vikings, absolutely. So there were a couple of us talking, and you know, it's like there are some times, and I feel like I've had a couple of reincarnations in my overall lifetime, and one of them feels like Viking. I mean, I feel like I've been in a Viking ship, the open ship, and sailing out to sea. I feel like I've been in one of those. My canoe is 17 and a half foot long and kind of feels like that open Viking thing. And I can't wait to get it in the water, right? So, and I'll be pulling it around with me with my new vehicle. But so anyway, but you know, there are several of us that I have been friends with over the years that have all stated, you know, I feel like I was a Viking in a previous life, you know. And then I was in that you know, that premiere of the Vikings in Thomasville playing that main character. and got to have a real sword fight. Um, yeah, it was great, to be able to. We were taught by the sword master from Florida State University to come up and teach us guys how to actually use the swords. And I mean, because there were, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, there were 12 of us in a very small area with real swords fighting each other. So we had to know where everybody was. I mean, you got to do your blocking right in a situation like that. If you're play fighting, you have to know when that jab is coming, when that sword is fixing to come between your legs, when that sword is supposed to come down on your head and you duck. I mean, there was that. I had one of those where I didn't have a helmet on, so it wouldn't have done any good. But the guy was swinging it, and I had to duck, just like Carista's training. Yep, I had to duck, and the sword master asked me after it was about the second rehearsal, and he came down off the stage because the partner I was supposed to be jousting with wasn't there. He was outside or something. And so he said, he said, um, have you had training before? And I said, well, no, sir, not in this lifetime. And he looked at me and I smiled, and he goes, you really have a good, smooth stroke when you do those. He said, all those guys up they're real choppy, he said, when you do your swings and bring them up, he said, you've got really good rhythm. And he goes, you are you sure nobody taught you anything about, sword play or anything? Nope, not in this life. And we both laughed. So that was my I consider it one of the biggest compliments I've ever had in my lifetime, you know. Um, but see, I've told folks before that there was one of those movies that Dante was showing us several years back now, to where him and several guys stormed this castle, and they went up a set of stairs and up to the thing, and around, and they fought these guys and won the day, and instead of losing they won or something like that. And I was like, as they were doing it and I was watching the video, William, how you doing? I have one up on you. I've had 2 YouTube channels, Pinterest account terminated, Rumble channel, We the People News. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Well, I've been in YouTube jail several times. And I'm looking to go on to Rumble because I found out that YouTube, there are several videos that I had published, but YouTube never put them up. So when I asked to republish it, they were like, can't, video's gone. So they have deleted videos of mine, not put them up, even though it says in my stuff, video, uploaded, and it ain't there, and it's nowhere to be found. And there's a little weird thing on the side. Crafty Cat, yes, I do. I'm sitting on the top of a huge. Can I get it out of there? It's right behind the chair. Yeah, I think I can get it. Hang on a second. No. Now here's a piece of tourmaline still in the substrate. That's black tourmaline. And this is a quartz kind of thing that it's sitting in. And I dug these out of a mine in Northeast Georgia. I carried two 5-gallon buckets with me, and we filled them up with these rocks on and toted them home. Hey, off the hook, aloha to you too. And so, for a lot of folks, black tourmaline is used to help ward off evil things. And I've got these stones all over the house, outside, around some of the bushes out there. If somebody comes in their car, they got to walk past a couple of pieces of, tourmaline, black tourmaline. Now, God, dog, I should weigh this thing. See if I can turn the camera a little bit. Don't fall off. This is my piece of smoky quartz. This thing is like 15 pounds, maybe 20. It's heavy as hell. Just trying to see if I could shine any light through any of it. Yeah, there's a little bit down here on this end that I can shine my light through. See the difference? But it's really thick. It's really big. And it sits under my chair all the time. And so folks are like, well, do you have any really good crystals? Well, do you count that one? Do you count this piece of tourmaline still in the quartz matrix? I mean, those are just the two sitting under me, not counting the other ones I got around the house. So, but here's the thing. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? So, I've got this rough piece of rock and somebody will says, big deal. You got many as well. Good, 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 good. I'm all for, people, when you find your own rock and you can associate your energy with it, that's a great thing. It's not just good, it's great. If you pick up a rock and you go, that's nice, and toss it back down, but you pick up a rock and you feel of it and you're moving it around in your hand and you move it to your other hand and you rinse it off a little bit in the water and you hold it a little longer and you go to throw it down and you go and you hold it on just a little bit longer. You've connected with the universe with that particular rock. It has a resonant frequency that agrees with yours. But when you pick up a rock and you go, and you pick up another and you see one, you pick it up and you go, drop it down. Then there's this little ugly one off to the side that you just, I don't know why, you pick it up and go, wow, this feels cool. And blah, blah. Next thing you know, it's in your pocket. So, why do we go on these adventures? Michelle said it right. To receive gifts from the universe. If you don't go anywhere, if you don't extend yourself outward from like me in my chair right here, I love my chair, but it's time to go. And thank you, Brother Danny, for the opportunity, because he and I went camping a bunch in the snow, in the rain. We went camping a lot. We were the Null brothers. So I get to go in his vehicle, in his wheelchair. And so I can still be the Null brothers. It'll just be that the older one of the two of us, made it longer than he did, unfortunately. But anyway, so no, there's no negativism there, we're going to miss Brother Danny, but with all the aches and pains and everything he had, and Lynn said he had a smile on his face when she got there to the hospital room 5 minutes after he passed. And so she said he had a smile on his face and he looked so peaceful. And I was like, that's good. Because when Pops died, he had been through seizures and he was on the bed doing this thing. And it was unplug me, Jesus Christ, you know. And he won another 24 hours, which was Thanksgiving that year, 1999. And we unplugged him the following day. So, but we just couldn't do it on Thanksgiving. It just wasn't right. But so, Danny's got his old trailer up here. I still have some of his things around. His two sons don't want to have anything to do with him. But me, we used to go fishing together. I got the old boat motor with me that we had on a boat that we bought together. And then is his trailer up there. It's still falling apart, but it's hard for me not to think of Danny, every day. Sometimes several times a day, and sometimes I curse him like, "Oh, son, bitch, you left this trailer in my yard," which he did. But then, to get his car paid for and to get his wheelchair scooter. I got to remember that, right, Scotty? Scooter. So with his scooter, I'm going to have more mobility. And I just thank you, Danny. R.I.P. Absolutely. And he gets to get buried in a national cemetery. He gets to be buried as a veteran. He gets to be buried because they run him out of the Navy. And he had 14 and a half years in. He wanted to retire from the Navy, and they pushed him out of the Navy, and he went downhill from there. And so it's like he even got a war accommodations and from the first Gulf War. And they were under fire. He got accommodations, from the general or whoever, admiral. But, so it's like, but nobody knows who my brother was. He was on a ship in the middle of the Suez Canal during a wartime, and they were being shot at, and he was shooting his 50 caliber machine gun at pirates trying to, bomb their fast frigate. But he's just another sailor, you know. But the fact that they're going to give him a military funeral, something he deserves. Something that he deserves. And so, yeah, he does deserve it. Yeah. He loved the Navy. He was a sure enough patriot, was in a war zone during a war being shot at, you know. But the fact that he'll go into the register there at the cemetery, he'll go into a place, I'm guessing this now, that would be like maybe the naval section or the army section and since he was a Navy vet, I don't know, I'm not sure, and the cremation, they have mausoleums, so they'll put his urn inside the mausoleum thingy. And, and his name will be on it, and his U.S. Navy, and I think his number or something, and any credentials he might have had. But in the roll books at the cemetery is where they also keep a lot of a lot more information. You know, he was in the Navy from here to here because they want to see his discharge papers and everything. So they will record it. They might even make a copy of his. I can't think of the DI duo do something something. Yeah, they're supposed to have a ceremony that they bring out plastic toy guns and shoot them, and they bring out a person that has taps. It's unbelievable. It's a bugle, but taps is recorded. So they hold it up to their lips and hit play. Okay. But the fact that they will have staff to do that will give him the ceremony, to give him the right send off, and put him with his comrades in arms forever and ever. Whatever war, whatever place, he got hurt in the Navy during some high seas when one of those big, acetylene canisters come loose in the shop and tore his leg, and he worked with it and worked with it and finally got out of the Navy. And then it took him years to get any disability from it. So them giving him the honors and giving him a place to rest in a national cemetery is a blessing to me and my sister. And because he can't see it, he's not here to see it. He's not here to see the ceremony. He's not physically here to see his friends and family who show up for his ceremony. But in our hearts, we know he knows. That's why he died with a smile on his face. He knew that Lynn and I would take care of him. And with certain regulations and things, we are. So, yeah, he will see it. I know. I'm crying here. I can't see the chat. Yeah, he will see it. Yeah, and I don't have any doubt about that. But it's just the way that the Navy cheated him for so many years, And I tried to work with him. I'm like, Danny, get in touch with our senator. The Navy cheated you, damn it. You got records here. Oh, I know, but I just don't want to. And finally, his other knee gave out, and he's like, I can't walk. And I said, tell the Navy, damn it, get your. So finally, he got disability for his legs and knees. And then they gave him the wheelchair. Finally, he should have had it 15 years ago, kind of thing. And I don't know if he's had it for 5 years. So, but anyway, God bless Danny. He's already made the journey, and he's in a better place. We know it. So, and with that said, he's left me a blessing. And if anything happens to me, Lynn gets the blessing passed on. So that's a good thing. We're good at passing things down. Lynn and I have been passing things around for years. So we know what it's like to be poor. We know what it's like to get hand-me-downs. We know what it's like to be like that. And what? I really do. I've stuck to the Navy and Air Force so gratefully they can receive the benefits they always deserved. Yep. Is it time for a 20 again? Oh, son of a gun, it is. Thank you. I'm sorry. This was going to be a 20-minute video. I know, Michelle. I know all that stuff, and the bit of crying I got now is more for you're finally gonna get what you deserve. That's why I'm crying. You're finally going to get what you deserve. Everybody put my brother down, and he was a Navy seaman, dedicated, a patriot, dedicated. on the fast frigate, the Elmer Montgomery. And it was the first Gulf War with the first Bush. And they were support for the flagship, the Vincennes. And on this particular morning, they had PT boats, like 60-mile-an-hour PT boats. And a big ship would come out from the harbor. And he said, me and the captain and the rest of us watched it on the radar. And he said they came out of the harbor from over on the starboard side, and then we looked. We saw a bunch of them come out for the. He said we saw 3 of them come out on the port side, the left side. And he said they were coming out. You could see these, 3 ships moving across the radar, doodly doodly doo. And he said then all of a sudden those 3 ships turned into 9. Actually, there were 9 more. So there were 3 PT boats dropped off by every one of those ships they could see on the radar. And that was just on the left side of the boat. And the Vincennes was on the right side, but they were slightly behind, I think he said. So these PT boats were hauling butt, and they did have machine guns on them, and they did have, like mortar rounds and stuff like that they would throw at the ships. They didn't have anything real big, but if they could get close enough, they'd, put a stick of C4 on there with a timer and blow the side of the, blow a hole in the side of the ship. So, yeah, just a hand in the bush. Yeah. So, but anyway, so he got accommodations for, that incident there in the Suez Canal. And then shortly thereafter, they threw you by the Navy. Congratulations, we love you for your service, get out. And, he had 5 years left. After 15 years, you'd go, wait a minute, I can do 5 more, and that was his intention. So, but anyway, his intention didn't go too far, because when they threw him out. But anyway, so the reason I'm having tears is because he's finally going to get, a 21 gun salute. He's finally going to get recognition, at least in death. They're going to put his name on the thing, and they're going to, put him in a spot that'll be in a national cemetery with all of his brothers and sisters in arms, and the Navy and the Army and all of the above. So I love it. I love it. So here's to Danny. Here's another 20. Here's to Danny, and thank you for my gifts post-mortem. Thank you, because you're going to allow me to visit people and to share and do some drum circles and teach whatever along the way, So thank you, Danny, for the many lessons. Thank you for the presents, but I will soon receive. Actually, we already got them. They're not officially mine yet. We actually do have them in position. Lynn's been driving his vehicle around a little bit, so it'll stay driven, and she's used the scooter. So, hey, Sheila, how you doing? And see, then when I get my scooter, Sheila and husband, they got a 4-wheeler, I get this scooter, I'll be able to keep up a little bit. I'll be able to scoot over to their house. Yeah, buddy. So this 20 is for Danny. Goo googie tube. Whoa. There the yeah, getting a new vehicle and a scooter. You know, I've only had one day to think about it. But, you know, like Michelle said, and all of y'all have said actually, um, you know, it's gonna open up avenues. You know, I'm thinking of so many of the places that I've already been that I was, you know, that I said, God, when I retire, I'll save up my money and I'll come back to here and I'm going to visit this place or like the Serpent Mound. Yeah, we were there for about 2 hours and that was, don't get me wrong, it was wonderful, but I want to spend a whole day there, you know, and then camp nearby maybe because that area where the Serpent Mound is, a meteor came through there, like right beside and left a jagged edge there at Serpent Mound. But there is stuff below Serpent Mound. There's a cliff, and where the serpent end is like 100 feet from the cliff, and so you know it's a couple 100 feet down to the bottom. But I understand that there are tours or whatever along the bottom, and that there's history and stuff, and that the comet or whatever came in and tore a path through there. So, as a geologist and so forth, that would be a place, a spot to go not only to the Serpent Mound on top, but then the next day go down and explore the you know, below the cliff. Um, you know, and then for me, it would be like the next day because it'd take me a whole day to do that. But the next day would be, you know, and looking at the general area because there are stories of other things happening in that area, and there's a state forest there, which would be cool to stay at. So I could spend 3 or 4 days easy around Serpent Mound. You can't camp there, but you can camp nearby, you know, a couple of miles. So, but anybody who wanted to come, you know, and we'd have a party of something, you know, that I could be in that area for, you know, several days and be there in summertime. So if you did have a vacation or we're going to be nearby, you know, we'd absolutely go. Yeah, my brother Danny died 3 weeks ago, right? And he left my sister and I guess, his car paid for. I'm going to get a picture. I'm going to have my sister take a picture of it so I can find out what kind. But that it's paid for. But she said it's like a Jeep. But Danny always liked the Ford Bronco, so it might be a Bronco, but it's new enough. It's got a push button. And the Navy finally bought him a really nice wheelchair scooter. And so Lynn's given me the scooter and the car with the stipulation that whenever something happens to me, she gets it back. It's going to happen, but when we don't know. But she's like, as long as you know, if something happens to you, I get it back. I was like, okay, no problem. You know, I get to use it till I go. All right, that's a pretty good lease agreement. You know. So after years of cursing my brother for leaving his trailer up here that's falling apart and leaving a mess and all that kind of stuff and ruined my plans for a house in that spot, now I can sing his praises, with a new vehicle and a scooter. You know, thank you. I mean it. And I quit being mad at him a long time ago, but I still curse the trailer because it's falling apart. You're leaving a mess, you son of a. Anyway, but so listen, folks. It's getting dark. I got to get ready for the show tonight with Robert, and I got on here. I hit the wrong button and it went live, and I was like, I'm not live, am I? And it was like, yeah. And I was, holy crap. So I just decided to stay here and just give a short report. And here I am 2 hours and 16 minutes later. And we just passed another 20, but I'm going to finish this one up. So one of these days soon, Chloe and everybody, I'll sit down and I'll get out my book. And many of you already know my phone number, but I'll give it to you again. And then you can tell me where you live, and what state. And then I can work around that. How close is a camping place? How close is a something? How far out of the way is it? Am I going to have enough gas money? Those kind of things. But I would like to know where you live so that I can plan those kinds of things. That is, if you want me to come by and say hi or be in the neighborhood to where you can come by and say hi. I hate to bother anybody in their own surroundings. If I go somewhere to visit, I want to make sure that I got me a place to go rest my head without being an inconvenience to somebody else. And they will always say, oh, it's no problem. It's no problem. And yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. No, it's no problem, Dave. You can stay. Yeah, well, you're gonna mind it at 2 in the morning when I have to take the dog for a walk. Are you gonna allow me? You got 14 locks on your back door. Me and Duggar don't have a lock. you know, okay, we don't live in fear. Not that I wouldn't stay with someone. Don't get me wrong, but having a campsite or someplace that I can go. No, I got it covered, and Duggar and I will have it covered. But if I get to somebody's house and the feeling's just right, and they go, "Come on, stay with us tonight," or you don't have to drive, or all right, convince me to stay. You know, but I'd still have a plan. I still got my space I can go to. So I just don't show up somewhere and not know what's around me. You know, I'm too observant. If I go into an area, I want to know what's going on, like about 75 miles, around me. What's going on? Is there a state park? Is there a something? Is there a lake, river, something? I'm always looking. So yeah, wherever you're living, I'll look for a place nearby because years ago there were a couple of places in Texas that were supposed to be like the bomb for fishing. And if I'm out west in Missouri with uh, Barry, and if we get Steve out of Kansas, and I'm close to Texas, then depending on gas money, you know, me and Duggar would like to go fishing. I got to find that lake. But there was some lake I watched years ago, um, Bill Dance fishing, and they went out fishing on this lake, and I was like, good God Almighty, I want to go fishing there. I want to go fishing there, So, but to be out there and to go fishing on a lake, whether I caught anything or not, it would be sort of like a dream of a lifetime in that, 50 years ago, I said I wanted to come fishing on this lake. And 50 years later, here I am in my own boat with a dog and a Zebco fishing reel, and I'm bass fishing, I mean, just so for me, that's like glorious. That's a gift from God, to be able to achieve that, especially at my age, especially when I pretty much give up on that kind of thing. But now, so my brother, in his demise, thank you, not that he's demise, but thank you to my brother, in that he honestly, as several folks have stated, I got a new lease on life. I got another chance, you know, better vehicle, a scooter. I had not planned on any of those things. And and here's the thing, getting these items is going to improve my life. That's true. But I'm not anymore. Well, it's hard to say, did I need these items to make me happier? And the answer is no. I'm pretty happy with Duggar and what we got and how things are going, It's been much worse, but it's rolling around pretty good. And the future seems to look pretty good too, So no, no objection there. And then I find out yesterday about the car and the scooter. So do I feel better about it? Am I happier? Uh, I don't see that, but I am happier. In a way, I'm ecstatic. The fact that Brian and I, all them years ago, had planned on getting together and then getting together with other people and meeting up at different places. And he was going to come down and get me, and we were going to go see somebody else. And then we were going to do that. And I'm like, this will give me the opportunity to go down to Pensacola and see my granddaughter. And there's also somebody that I can't remember at the moment that lives down there, right along the beaches down there. And so I get, I could take a boat and, rig a sail and go down there but anyway, so I get the opportunity to do all these things. So does that make me happier? Yes, I ain't gonna lie. And it's not so much a new vehicle, it's going to be a different vehicle. And it is newer. It's got a push button. So that means that means I can take care of it the way I took care of my other two vehicles I've had. 300,000 miles and my Mazda's still running. There's no knock, there's no nothing. She doesn't use any oil because I know how to take care of it. So I'm going to get this vehicle and I'm going to take care of it, And so if I take care of it, it could potentially last me 300,000 miles. So that means I get to go to a lot of places. That means I'm going to have to work on that 300,000 miles if I'm going to see if I can take care of it right. I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a lot of traveling in order to, get that 300,000 miles on the vehicle. So, but anyway, I love you all. The chat quit for some reason. I don't know what's going on, but it's time for me to get out of here. If you can, tune in with me and Robert tonight. And then normally on Tuesdays after me and Robert, I usually get on. So I'm going to try to use the other camera on the computer and after the show and see how things go. So I love you all and cosmic hugs and one more hit and puff puff pass. I watched a little clip from Cat Williams the other day. And he was saying, he said, I was out west in Los Angeles. He said, I was riding around with, the king of smoking. God almighty, I forgot his name just that quick. Oh, old age is going to be Snoop Dogg. He said, I'm riding around with Snoop Dogg. And he said, we get to this place, and he said, we smoked this one that I had brought along and we passed it around. And he said, I got high. And he said, next thing I knew, he said, Snoop Dogg's got he's got a blunt going. It's rolled up and he fires it up. After this, we put this one out. He said, then he passed it around. So it was puff, puff, pass. It was puff, puff, pass, And he said he passed it over to his buddy and he did the puff, puff, pass. And he said, and it got around to me. And he said, a puff, puff, pass. And he said, I did, lo and behold, before I got through with my second one, he said, I looked across over there and it said he had another blunt lit up, starting up in the circle. And he said, so I passed it on over to Snoop. And he said, before I know it, here comes this other one. And he said, now I've had 2 hits. And he said, I thought that I had been high before. But I tell you what, he said, before I knew it, there was one coming from every direction. And of course, you have to hear it from the way Cat Williams talks about it. And I was like, there have been several times that there'd be 3 or 4 of us, 5 of us get together, and each one of us have a doobie. And sometimes we'd light it all at the same time. So take a hit of mine and hand it to you. You take a hit of yours and hand it to him. He likes his and hands it to her, so it goes around. So when you finish taking your hit, your next hit is from the person next to you. So you take a hit and you pass it on. And then the next thing you know, you turn around and you take a hit and you pass it on. So that hit, over the years, those types of situations. But there have been times while sitting in one of those situations that somebody has got some Maui Wowie. Somebody has got some, not just Acapulco gold, but the OG gold, And and you get, this one's good, that hit's good, and everything's fine. Then you grab this next one, you're not sure where it come from. You take a hit off that thing and you, because you got to cough some, and you take that second one and you're holding out your hand and you start to sag towards the middle and you're trying to hold on to the joint, but the person on the other side of you is having trouble sitting up. So you say, hey, man, take this, and the guy on the other side, he's tapping you on the shoulder like, hey, man, take this joint from me. And then before I know it, I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. I am so stoned. I am so high. And he's like, them folks out there in L.A., they get high different than we do in Cincinnati. I found out he's an Ohio boy. He lived for a time in Cincinnati and in Dayton. And I was born in Cincinnati, I think like him. Not that I'm trying to, I'm not Cat Williams, but I was proud that, he's a Buckeye, cool beans, What, he lived in Dayton too? Wow, that's cool, So anyway, but so Blessings to all of you. We never know when a blessing is going to come to us. You know, I was not expecting anything from anyone at any time. The only thing I've expected is, the universe to just help me along the way. Help me walk across the yard, you know, help me work on this, help me work on that, I'll be okay. But, you know, so with that said, please take care of yourself. I can't see the chat, so I don't know if anybody's yakking about anything. But until later on tonight, and if you can stop in with me and Robert tonight at 10 o'clock, um, after Trump's State of the Union address. So until next time, my dear friends, I love you. I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many, many blessings from the universe. So, with that said, adios, my dear friends. And if Dante is truly gone, to Azazel, I say thank you for your wisdom and thank you for teaching us what you did while you were here. I appreciate it. I'm going to have a separate video on that. But, Richard, and if you're here, I want to talk to you about that. So, good night till from now until next time.